Thank you so much. Really great to be here. Another year in Augmented World Expo. Hope you all enjoy the conference so far. Today we're going to talk about 3D digital asset management for enterprises with a title that's a bit provocative, About Damn Time. So thanks, Brandon, for introducing me. I'll say hello as well. I'm Alon. I'm the CEO of Echo 3D, a cloud solution for 3D digital asset management. Did my grad studies at Columbia University and undergrad in computer science, electrical engineering. So a big nerd, certified nerd, and a big believer in the intersection between cloud and 3D. A little bit about us as a company. We serve over 100,000 users all over the world who are using us to share and optimize 3D content across a variety of use cases. We won a bunch of awards, and we've partnered with some of the best companies out there, and a lot of them have booths at AWE, so definitely go out, check them out as well. We're seeing 3D content everywhere these days. We're seeing it in gaming, things like Fortnite or Roblox. We're seeing it in augmented and virtual reality use case, obviously kind of the big push for this conference as well. Face filters or kind of try before you buy experiences in e-commerce. So 3D content and 3D assets are really, really everywhere. But there's something still missing, and we see that it's really, really hard to manage this abundance of 3D content everywhere. But honestly, if you think about it, you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post, right? You can just drag and drop an image or video, and that only appears on web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California, and with both watching some episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience when we're watching this content. So what we did, we decided, okay, let's look at this type of content and translate these concepts into 3D. So what we allow you to do is take 3D content and get the best 3D streaming experience across all these different use cases. Now, if you think about like 3D content in general, how different it is from 2D, if 2D is just a single image, it could be an image or a video, just a single file. For 3D, you can have a skeleton, mesh, animation, texture, like all these different files together that basically can consist of an asset. And that asset could be massive. A scan of this room alone could be something like 600 megabytes. How do you bring that to your phone that has a smaller buffer really, really fast? And if you have content that is situated in different locations, imagine if you're opening an app in New York, maybe you see the Empire State Building. If you open it in San Francisco, maybe you want to see the Golden Gate Bridge. So content can be also location-based, which is very different than images and videos. And that's why the need for a specific 3D DAM comes about. So this is basically what we've built. This is kind of 3D-focused digital asset manager that allows you to store, secure, optimize, and share 3D content anywhere in the world. It's really, really cool. Today we're going to play around with it a little bit, answer a few questions about it, and see how you can easily manage all your 3D content in a kind of dedicated repository. So now we'll jump into a quick demo, live demo, which is always kind of interesting during these conferences because we need to pray for the Wi-Fi gods to allow things to work. But here's our console. Here's a collection of 3D assets that you can really upload anything you want. It could be 3D models, animations, interactive content, images, videos as well. And what's interesting here is that once you have those assets here, you can share them across different collections, which means basically giving access to your assets to different collaborators, different partners, really, really easy. And you can also add a lot of collaborators to your project. So for example, if you want to have different team members, some of our team members are featured right here, they have access to certain files and they have access to certain permissions they can perform on our collection. So for example, uploading content, viewing content, changing content. That's kind of the thing that you can change. When you're talking about enterprises specifically, one of the big themes that comes about is team collaboration. So groups is something that is really, really prevalent. Suddenly you have teams in different locations, groups in different geographic regions, and you want to define those groups, so you can do that here. You can manage your collections, and you can share these collections, again, everywhere in the world. Super, super easy. That kind of sharing can happen on a collection base, so basically like sharing access to all the collections that you have access to, or give specific asset permissions. For example, if I have this magnifying glass, I want to share it with Megan, and Megan only gets access to the magnifying glass outside, like basically part of this entire collection. And obviously, we take security in consideration. Everything is encrypted, everything is anonymized, and you have kind of secret tokens that you can use in order to share data really, really securely. Now let's go back here. We'll see all this kind of different types of content. We see 3D models here. We see videos. We see GIFs. We have 3D scans that are really, really kind of popular these days and really actually easy to create. But another cool thing that we are seeing lately enterprise using is a lot of point clouds. Now, let's give this a second to load. You'll see how easy it is to basically view basically point clouds, massive scans of, in this case, it'd be an industrial site that you can basically share across your organization really, really easily. As you'll see in a sec, again, we need to pray to the Wi-Fi gods here, but once this loads, you'll be able to see these massive scans that you can share across your organization, but the browser still supports it. So really, really cool stuff around this kind of sharing massive 3D models. There we go, this starts loading. We have a 300 megabyte file right here loading in the browser on conference Wi-Fi. So let's give it a sec. But yeah, you're seeing like all these files kind of progressively loading in your browser. Another thing that is really important to enterprise is like a data management. So each asset actually has kind of metadata associated with it. So you can have keys and values that you can attach to assets on an individual level or on a collection level. This is something that's really, really popular with digital asset management systems that you can basically introduce different taxonomies and different kind of tags for specific assets that allow you to easily search for these assets across the organization. When you upload different files, the system will automatically detect duplicates and will let you know if there's a file that has already been uploaded or that a file from a different team member is available. Another thing that we recently added is AI tagging. Yes, AI is the biggest buzzword recently, and we have that too. Basically allowing you to upload content in our system to automatically detect what that content is and add those tags. So for example, that magnifier glass, our system automatically detected that it's some sort of a mirror with magnifying, and that adds automatically if you want to search for that asset. Another cool thing that we have here is our Web AR Customizer, allowing you to overlay buttons and functions, automations on top of the assets that you share with others. So if I share a 3D asset, I can also add actions to it and allow people to view it. Each asset that you stored on Echo has a QR code attached to it that you can kind of share with everyone, and a short link that allows you to easily access that, that content anywhere in the world. But now that we have the content right here, you probably created it in Maya or Blender or some kind of 3D creation tool, but what happens if you want to change that asset? So you don't have to go back to any content creation tools. You can actually change things inside the digital asset manager. You see this car right here. If I decide that, I don't know, let's say Christmas is coming up and it's time to retexture the car to be red, we can do it here. We want to make it green, we can do it here. That's a really, really powerful tool. When you have a good digital asset manager, it allows you to create different variants of assets, create different versions that you can kind of switch between and show different clients different versions of the asset. This is something you do inside the platform, no need to go anywhere else, and create different variants of assets. They can be saved under a same entry, like the same asset, or you can have multiple assets of different versions. Really, really powerful tool. The same applies to normal maps and roughness and other kind of normal maps and whatnot, and a lot of other kind of resources that you can attach to specific versions of the asset. But what happens if someone from your kind of team, some of your collaborators on all these projects, changes the model and you know what, you don't like this version? So we've introduced something really cool around version control that allows you to revert back versions, see what changes happened, and basically change things back if changes were not implemented correctly. It's a really powerful tool for you to basically see what's going on in your project and how your content is doing. If you're already on the topic of your team, another really powerful tool that we have is the activity bar and the discussion, where you can basically add notes and kind of tell your teammates if something happened, if something needs changing, and basically communicate how you can use your content better. You can see how your content is being changed over time. And that's really like a powerful tool, giving you that bird's eye view of how your content is performing and what is happening inside your team. If you see someone doesn't have access or whatnot, you'll be able to see everything here. Every time you add some kind of data entry here, they will get an email notification that something happened and they need to address your concern. And if you're already on the topic of tracking, let's check out the insights page. It basically gives you, again, like this really, really cool bird's eye view of how your content is doing throughout time. What is the most popular content that you have? How is it doing? Where are what is like the latest actions are being taken in your collection? And everything is logged and everything is kind of monitored. So you can see what content is performing better. If you are in an e-commerce space and you have two cars and the one is green and one is red, you can see what is the most successful or like more popular asset, what works better, what gets more hits, what gets more access. You can track your users all over the world. So our company is based in New York, and literally a few months ago, I went to Austin for South by Southwest doing a similar demo. You can see where your content is being accessed through. So you see it being accessed in the Soho office or like downtown Austin when I was in South by. I live in the Upper West, so like it's all here. So it's really, really cool. It gives you like, again, this amazing control over your content, where your content is coming from, where your users are coming from, and knowing that our cloud supports you that. So if you suddenly have users in Austin, a server in Austin will serve that data to those users for better performance because we automatically allow you to optimize your content based on your location. One of the best tools that we have under the hood is our converter and compressor for 3D content. So that's kind of one of our core technology that comes in built into the digital asset manager. Here you can convert files to any format. So if I have this original magnifying glass as a GLB file and I want to make it into an FBX or a GLTF or an OBJ or a USDZ because I want it to work well on the Apple Vision Pro, I can literally right here convert it, and our system will also convert a lot of those files automatically. But it's not just the conversions, it's the compressions as well. If I want to take massive 3D files like we saw earlier, and I want to make smaller versions of them, I can do it right here, change it, decide literally at what level of compression I want it to go. So for example, I want to poly reduce it by 46%. I can do it right here inside the console, create different variants, again, of those assets and different poly counts. This is super, super useful if you have users in different locations where internet connectivity isn't as reliable. It could be the case that sending smaller files to different locations works best. You can rescale the assets and everything kind of built into the platform for really, really easy use. Now, after we've kind of reviewed this and we've seen all these assets right here, other things that are really cool to see are our collection of over 1 million assets that you can use kind of for free. They're pretty indexed, and you can kind of search for assets if you don't have assets. And if you do already have assets that you want to use, again, we have this really, really powerful search engine that you can look for files across all of your collections, see if you have duplicates like I have here. And it's, again, like a really good tool to get this bird's eye view of your project and see where your content is being used and how. Two more things that I want to show is our integrations. So maybe I'll show that. There we go. Let me refresh the page for a sec. I want to show our integration. So everything you're seeing right here in the console is also available through API. So if you're a developer or a technical person, you can actually get access to all of these features through coding. Every collection is basically, you can kind of query that collection and get all the information, like these short links that we kind of saw earlier, or file sizes and stuff like that. You can kind of do that there. And another thing that we have is all these integrations. Maybe I'll show it on our website instead. We have an abundance of like SDK integrations that allow you to basically connect your collection from the digital asset manager into this 3D platform. For example, Unity or Unreal or Blender or JavaScript. There are like so many really, really cool integrations. For example, Snapdragon Spaces is another really, really cool integration that we launched last year, or an Niantic Lightship. So if you're a developer and you're building some really cool app, you can actually remotely control all the assets that you have in that app using Echo 3D, and basically just use one of these integrations, and you'll be able to easily build that in. Another thing that we offer is white labeling. So basically, let's say you have this really cool collection of assets, but you want them to live in your own collection. So this is something that we do right here. We allow you to get a white label version of our software, basically giving you control over like the color scheme, the logo, and whatnot, and you're able to deploy this on your company's either servers or at least your domain. And get basically your own version of Echo. If you're interacting with other clients and you don't want them to know that you're using like a third-party collection manager, you can just use your own, which is super powerful. Jumping back to the slides here. Okay, so we saw that with asset management, we can make it super, super simple to basically see all of your assets and all of your collections, that it's easier to deploy apps really, really fast because suddenly you have control over your content. You can change it remotely, and that will automatically change in your application really, really easily. And you can optimize these assets so they will work anywhere and on different platforms. We just saw all these integrations. Some of them work better with this file format or that file format, with this poly count or that poly count, and you have full control of what versions of assets you have, so you can kind of bring those into these 3D platforms. So really, really, really simple. So just to recap how that works, if you're an asset manager or a designer, you can just use the console. Everything we did was very non-technical, just drag and drop assets, click a few integrations. It's really, really easy. If you are technical, we have all these integrations that allow you to bring those assets from your teammates into those different platforms that you use. Our cloud will store, update, and stream all these assets to all these platforms out there super, super easily. And in our case, specifically for this conference, specifically for AR, VR devices, headsets, and kind of 3D tablets. So let's talk about use cases a little bit. One of the biggest use cases that we're seeing people using 3D digital asset management is for tourism, industrial use cases, automotive, healthcare, gaming, obviously, e-commerce, retail, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure you also, like when you walked around the expo today, you probably saw like all these companies doing amazing integrations for amazing use cases. This is really inspiring to see. But you have 3D content basically everywhere. We started this talk talking about like where can you find 3D content, if it's gaming or e-commerce, but if you think about it, you have content everywhere. And the more time passes, we're seeing like this abundance of 3D in all these kind of non-obvious use cases. So really, if you're working in an industry that didn't adopt kind of 3D as of yet, definitely think, how can I inject 3D into my organization, and how can I manage 3D content? And when you use our platform, you'll be able to basically start with some content if you don't have it, some with kind of our collection, and kind of scale from there. As I mentioned, we have over 100,000 users on our platform already, professionals in 3D. They're sharing content everywhere and using our integrations to build in that content into different platforms. So it's really, really super simple, and you can kind of integrate the content right there, and right now and right there. We're seeing amazing companies who are basically using 3D for e-commerce or training or data visualization or urban development, and it's really, really inspiring to see what people use 3D content for. So definitely kind of lean into that as well in your organizations. We just launched at this AWE a really amazing integration with Sony's spatial reality display, the Sony SRD. So definitely check it out. It's published already at Sony.com. We have this really cool integration that every content that you have stored on Echo 3D is able to be streamed into the Sony spatial reality display. It's really magical. If you haven't seen it yet, stop by the Sony booth or our booth, booth 428, to check out this integration. It's really magical to see how you can have like basically 3D and basically holograms with no headset, and those assets streaming in from the cloud to that application. So definitely check that out. A little bit more about us as a company. We're back with some of the most amazing investors out there, like Qualcomm Ventures, Convoy Ventures, Reimagine Ventures, Space Capital. We won a bunch of awards, including an Augie last year, and the 2024 Devies. So definitely come say hello to our team at booth 428, see a live demo of our tech, and we're gonna find some professional you can kind of talk about how I can like organize and share my 3D assets and my 3D content across my organization. Make sure you register at echo3d.com. We have a free trial for a week long that has access to everything and all of the features that you've seen right here. This will basically allow you to, again, store, secure, and organize your content while you can optimize them, convert, and compress. I'm ending this talk with a few really cool quotes by inspiring people about AR, VR, and where this industry is headed. This is obviously a big kind of AR, VR conference, and I really want you to kind of come out inspired about where this industry is headed and how AR and VR specifically is such an amazing vertical of 3D that you need to adopt as well. So thank you so much. You can kind of scan this QR code to kind of get a 3D model streamed into your phone right now through our platform. Make sure, again, you register at echo3d.com, test out the system, say hello at booth 428, and thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. We have a few minutes for questions. Does anyone want to ask any questions or anything? Oh, thank you so much for helping with the mic. Anything? Questions about? Yes, let's go.
For that web AR.
You wait 1 minute before we get the mic to you, please.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Thank you.
For the web AR customizer, I saw that you were able to change the color of the body of the car. Do you have access to all the other layers as well?
Yes. Oh, perfect question. So once you have different variants for an asset, they will all appear in that kind of web AR preview, allowing you to cycle between them and easily share different versions of an asset with the people you want to share the asset for. And it's all optimized automatically. Great question. Thank you so much. Any other questions? Yes, right there, the guy with the hat. We'll get the mic to you.
How's it going? So in terms of integrating with like something like Adobe, like with the AEM, like how, is there like some way to integrate with that?
Yeah, so we have a RESTful API that can basically integrate with anything. Specifically with Adobe products, you can probably export any file from there, from like GLB or FBX or something like that, then drag and drop that to Echo super seamlessly. Yeah, it's pretty much integratable as much as you can. As long as you have a computer with internet access, you can integrate any kind of output from an Adobe product into Echo 3D. Yeah. So again, it really depends. We don't have like a direct integration with that Adobe product, but we can always like build some kind of connector, because as long as like it's connected to the internet, we can just do that pipeline. And again, all the features that I've kind of presented are all available through API. So we can always do some kind of like cool thing that some webhook that after you publish something there, it runs it on Echo and turns it back or something like that.
Cool. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good question. Any other questions before we close? Awesome. Well,
Let me thank our speaker. Give him a round of applause. Great job.
Thank you.